So let's welcome back the fellas here, Leger Douzable and Pete Prisco. I want to talk about the Patriots because, Pete, you thought they were a year away. I don't even know. I thought it was a year, maybe 2 years or something. It's a new head coach, still a young quarterback, a lot to figure out. They're sitting at 8-2, leading the division. So we're going to go through every single AFC East team, get your prediction. Pete, what is your season prediction for the 8-2 Patriots?
13-4.
Okay.
And the playoffs will go through Foxborough.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule is a joke when you look at it.
There it is.
Hey, Pete.
Look at it.
Fourth-place team, that's why.
But look at the next, before the bye, will they lose one of those games? I don't see it. Jets at Bengals, Giants. That's 3 straight wins. You're going to go to the bye on a 10-game winning streak.
Get rest before
then
playing
you get
the Bills.
I have the Bills beating them. You don't.
Yeah.
I have losing to the Ravens, and then they win their last 2 against those bad AFC East teams. So the bottom line is they're going to have the best record in the AFC. The playoffs will go through Foxborough.
Yeah, I have them winning the division as well. And when you look at it, right, you're a 4th-place team last year. You get a 4th-place schedule. So the Bills had to, unfortunately, they had to play the Eagles and the Chiefs. They get to play the Raiders, who they actually lost to, which is the funny thing about the Patriots earlier in this season. But they also play the Titans because of that instead of playing the Texans, who the Bills have to play as well. And Drake May has done a wonderful job elevating this roster and these receivers. People question, are they going to make a trade at the deadline? They haven't had to because of how he's been able to distribute the ball. They lose Kayshon Boutte. Well, Kyle Williams steps up, right? They don't have Ramondre Stevenson. Travion Henderson steps up, and he's just been able to elevate him. Stephon Diggs looks like the old Stephon Diggs, making plays in the red zone on 4th down for him. And I love that he has just elevated this roster. What isn't talked about enough, Pete, and me and you both said this, we thought this was going to be a defensive-led team. The defense is actually really good.
Really good.
And nobody talks about them because of Drake May and the offense. They're giving up less than 20 points a game, and they probably have the best trio of corners in the NFL. And guys that you wouldn't expect to step up, Kayvon Chason, people thought he was a bust. He's played really well the last couple weeks.
He's not even a starter.
Yeah,
6 starters on that defense came in free agency.
Yep.
6. That
They
tells
spent
you
money.
they flipped it over, and they've done a great job with it.
I was around Vrabel a ton in Tennessee, and I'm not surprised to see what I'm seeing now from these guys. They love playing for him. I remember when he called them his street rats on the way to the AFC championship, and the guys really bought into that. Okay, you talked about the Dolphins maybe being a bad team when you mentioned the bad teams in the AFC, but they did beat the Bills, and it was ugly for Buffalo. Are they hitting the panic button up there? What's the prediction?
When you look at their prediction, too much Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You see them like they blow out the Atlanta Falcons, they blow out the Bills, but then they lose to the Carolina Panthers and other teams they're not supposed to lose to. I got them actually finishing 4-13, only 1 more win. And I say this because when you look at the history of this team.
You have that. Who do you have?
Oh, we got the Bills. We're doing the Bills right now.
I was like, wait a minute.
You just buried the Bills.
I have the Bills going 11-6. I'm sorry. 11-6. I have them going 11-6 and finishing second in that division. I just think it's going to be too tough to catch the Patriots. They already lost to them on a head-to-head, and their schedule is significantly harder. The Houston Texans have found new life after beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll see if C.J. Stroud comes back. They have to go to the Steelers. And me and Pete talked about this earlier. They have yet to stop the run. And if you can't stop the run, it's tough to beat teams, no matter how good your offense is. But they also have issues on the offensive side. No receiver can separate. They haven't been able to get Khalil Shakir involved in the offense. And then their run game, when it's on, they win games. When it's not, they don't. And they've turned, in the 3 losses, they've had turnover issues. So there's a lot going on with them. Now, again, you look at the pedigree and say they'll be able to turn it around. I just think it's too much room to catch the Patriots right now. I think they're going to finish second in the division.
I don't think they'll catch the Patriots. I think they're going to end up with the same record, but it'll come down to division record if it does that. And they have lost to the Dolphins. So
correct,
that'll end up hurting them. But I think they're going to win all their games except for the Eagles game. I do. I think this team still has it, and we saw that against the Chiefs. And you showed against the Chiefs what you have when you play in big games, and I think they're going to show up in these games going here. So I think they go 13-4.
I will say
but
they were
Patriots,
healthier that Bills game, not losing Hoyt that game, also not having Daquan Jones, and also not having Ed Oliver.
Back,
I don't think Ed Oliver's coming back. That's a big loss. That's a big loss for them.
So you guys already alluded to who you think is going to win the division, but who do you think is built for a deeper run, Pete, in the playoffs?
The team that's been there is built for the deeper run. I mean, in this scenario, I have Buffalo going in and beating New England. So if they had to play them again in the playoffs, I think they would go in and beat them again.
Okay.
You would agree with that?
I don't know. I mean, if they get the #1 seed, it's going to be hard to beat them in Foxborough. I truly believe that just because, yes, that team hasn't been there, but their head coach has, and he knows how to win. Like, not only from his time playing as a player, but you talked about it, Tiff, when he was at the Titans. People forget he went to the AFC Championship game. Yep. They were the #1 seed in the AFC. So I just think the way he's turned that over, and then some of the players that he's brought in have championship experience. Milton Williams, also Carlton Davis. These guys have been to the Super Bowl before. Yes, they're still a young team, but they brought in enough vets that have had championship experience. I think they're going to be a tough out. Them or Indiana. If one of those two teams get the #1 seed, they're going to be a tough out at home.
Are we going to see, as we move on now, Mike McDaniel troll around other teams? Was
that real or was that AI?
I believe it was real.
Who knows anymore?
I think he was
I
putting
believe now,
AI out there to, just like muddy up the narrative, but I think it was real.
You think it was him? He was
I saw
parlaying in the
credible
street?
sources with it.
By the way, he does drive home that way. I know he does because he lives right over there. So
it was perfect then.
That's hilarious.
I mean, when you have a record like he has, he shouldn't be trolling anybody.
Can they turn it around?
No, they're not turning it around. They're going to be better, though. Okay. Because you look at their schedule, and I look at their schedule, and I say, you know what? They're going to finish with 7 wins.
Yep.
I think they win this week. The Commanders aren't very good. The Saints aren't very good. And they have the Jets, who aren't very good. They can win all those games. And they get the Bengals, who knows what they're going to be playing for late in the season, and maybe nothing. So I think they can get 7 wins. And if they get to 7 wins, you know me, I've been a big critic of Mike McDaniel. Big critic. I think Mike McDaniel did something really impressive last week by beating Buffalo. That team could have folded up and gone home, and they didn't. And that tells you a lot about him as a coach in that scenario. Does it save his job? He's going to have to win more games, but maybe ultimately it does.
I think now we're talking about the Dolphins. I think there's been too much Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
So you don't want to talk about the Bills right now?
No, well, you're looking at Pete, right? I talked about it earlier. Like, they look like world beaters versus the Atlanta Falcons. They look like world beaters versus the Bills. And then they lose games they're not supposed to lose. So it's just like, which team are we going to get? And the biggest thing that's kind of been the dark cloud over their head, can they win it when it's cold? Mm-hmm. Look at their schedule. They go to the Jets, and this game, I believe, is in Spain. It's probably going to be cold there.
It's chilly in
so
Spain
I'm like,
right
I don't
now.
know if they're going to win that game, even with Marcus Mariota being the quarterback, because they have yet to prove they can play in cold weather. So you got a cold game versus the Commanders, a cold game at the Jets, cold game at the Steelers, and then you finish at the Patriots. So 4 of your final 8 games or 7 games are in cold weather, and they have yet to beat that narrative. So that is my biggest concern when you look at them. Will they be able to finally get over that narrative that this isn't a tough team that cannot play in inclement weather?
Well, it's not going to be that cold in Spain. I think it was going to be in the 50s.
Well, not because Germany this past week, I think it was like in the 30s, bro.
Yeah, but not Spain's going to be in the 50s.
They're bringing coats, Pete.
I thought it was going to be in the 50s. That's not too bad. And Miami can handle that. But as
Miami
far as,
can't play anything lower than 40.
And playing the Jets, you could play them in a hurricane, anywhere.
We're going to see how he feels that week. I guarantee
it doesn't matter.
When he does his picks,
that's like a bye. That's like a bye week.
He's going to pick the Jets. I'm telling you right now.
They completed 3 passes to wide receivers.
When that week comes, you're going to be like, I know the Dolphins can't play in the cold. I'm picking the Jets.
But 3, even if they complete 3, maybe they'll complete 4 to wide receivers.
If Brees has 150 all-purpose yards, it doesn't matter.
Maybe they'll complete 4 to wide receivers that week.
Maybe.
Okay. Speaking of the Jets, this is a team that was piling up draft picks over at the NFL trade deadline. So, Leger, what is the season prediction in your eyes for the Jets?
I got them winning a couple more. I have them going 5 and 12. Pete has them losing every single game.
More than the Dolphins.
More than the Dolphins, just because I think they have a couple of games now. These next 2 games are going to be hard, right? At Patriots, at the Ravens. But again, I look at the Falcons, and they have to come to MetLife Stadium. It's going to be a little bit colder. They play in a dome. They play in the NFC South. And we don't know which Falcons team we're going to get. The Dolphins can't play in the cold. I think they get that game. I do believe they lose to your Jaguars. The Saints one is kind of up in the air because if we get the Tyler Shuck that we saw this last week, it's going to be hard for the Jets, but we don't know he's a rookie quarterback. Anything can happen, and I do have them losing those last 2 games. But there's a caveat. That Bills game, it'll be interesting. Say the Bills can't really move in their playoff spot.
Right, they might not play.
They might rest everybody, so they could potentially win that game as well.
I don't think they're going to win again if everybody plays. If the Bills play everybody, they're not winning again. This team is awful. The quarterback is terrible right now. And
they're good on special teams and defense.
Who plays quarterback?
Tyrod might play. It depends. If we get the Bengals, Justin Fields, then we got a chance.
Yeah, they're not winning another one. I just don't. And for the good of the franchise, don't win another one.
The players in the locker room aren't thinking like that.
Huh?
Yeah.
They're not thinking. We have so much draft capital, I don't even think it matters. We have 5 first-round picks.
Yeah, but you know what? The higher the better. You know that.
But them players aren't
every
thinking like
round,
that.
the higher the better.
You know them players aren't thinking
The
like
players
that.
aren't thinking that, but people in the organization are probably sitting back, wait, do we really want to win these games?
Well, Pete, really quickly, just to piggyback off of that, if they do get the #1 overall pick, who should they go with?
We're big Ty Simpson fans.
Yeah.
I love Ty. Yeah, people will say he hasn't played enough, but people will forget he sat and waited. So he sat and learned
The problem
offense.
is with a Ty Simpson, you're picking a guy that doesn't have the traits that you'd like in that spot. We don't care, but I could see teams
He's
caring
so
about
clutch,
that.
man.
He's only he's listed at 6'2", which means he's probably 6'1".
Yeah.
So you're picking a quarterback first overall who's 6'1", and teams have a problem with
It
that.
worked for Baker.
It didn't work in Cleveland for Baker.
Oh, it did. They just got rid of him.
Yeah, well, that means it didn't work.
Too, it doesn't work in the dating world either. You know?
Tips, are you one of them people?
I'm just
Somebody has
saying
to be a
it's not-
certain height?
Look, why don't you go?
We're going to wrap
She's
this
high
thing
shaming
up. We're going to
people.
get on out of here.
All my
okay?
short kids, man.
Guys, we appreciate
Tiffany
it.
ain't got love for you.
Justice for the short kings. Okay, CBS Sports has got you covered. The Sunday slate, the Bucks and the Bills facing off at 1 p.m. Eastern, then Chiefs Broncos there at 4:25.